Hello, everyone. You're listening to Cinema 5000. How's it going? My name is Mallory. This is my podcast, me just talking about some movies that I've recently seen. And on this episode, I have 7 films to talk to you about today. Some fun films, some dark films, some different kinds of movies. Ooh. What do we have for the count? We're at 5,974 features. May 14th April 14th. It's come and gone. It's not happening. I know. Being realistic about things, I have said before, I just want to get through the end of this quarter, hopefully passing that mark. I think I can do it. I'm pretty sure I can do it. But besides that, hitting the 6,000 mark, just a really good episode for you. Like, some movies that I liked, and even when they weren't so great, I still found things to like about them. So let's talk about it. Let's get in there. The first thing we're going to talk about is Hoppers from 2026, directed by Daniel Chong. The tagline is, "Act natural." Scientists have discovered how to hop human consciousness into lifelike robotic animals, allowing people to communicate with animals as animals. Annabelle lover Maybelle seizes an opportunity to use this technology, uncovering mysteries within the animal world beyond anything she could have imagined. Now, this is a Disney Pixar film. I went into this just hoping to have a good time. Pixar films kind of hit or miss for me. They always have that touch of being very devastating and in a way that, is emotionally really heightened and also very touching and troubling maybe. They're pulling at the heartstrings, they're doing what they do. If you've seen a Pixar film, you know what I'm talking about. So Hoppers, it's not quite like that, though I will say this is the craziest, zaniest film I've seen in quite some time. Regardless of the animation, it's bonkers, and it is bonkers in the best way. I found this tremendously entertaining. In fact, I have now seen Hoppers twice, and I was not expecting this movie to be that great. I was just kind of like, well, it looks like kind of goofy and silly, and then I was like, oh, it's Pixar? It didn't really strike me as that Pixar kind of feel, But I was pleasantly surprised watching this the first time I saw it in the theater. Saw it with a friend of mine. I gave it 3.5 stars. There were just a couple things that were maybe not my cup of tea, and I was just kind of like, well, these aren't really bad things about the film. They're just, things that when they occur, you're kind of like, oh, well, I'm just a little not on board with that maybe. But the second time watching it, I got over it. This is a very entertaining film, great for children. It's not rated G, it's rated PG, so not for the little ones. But I think the little ones would still have a good time. I mean, it's animals being crazy, wacky. The lead character, Mabel, she's a very passionate college student and activist. She's voiced by Piper Curda. And she ends up getting into the robotic body of a beaver. And she explores the animal world. And in the process of that, she meets King George, who's played by Bobby Moynihan, whose vocal performance as King George I think is just terrific. Like one of those really wonderful performances that just kind of hits the mark above where you usually feel like performances can be in animated films. Like it's just so endlessly charming, as is the picture itself. I have so many good thoughts about this movie. It's also a little dark at times in the way that movies can be dark, where it's like you're an adult, you're like, whoa, that's messed up. But I have to say, Hoppers is like top tier for me as far as animated films I've seen in a long while. One of the better Pixar films, period. I know that's a big thing. But you're also talking about me. I mean, I have my tastes. I don't like Toy Story 3. And in fact, I've seen the Toy Story 5 preview so many times. Oh, man. I'm just kind of like, I can't do it. No, because Toy Story 4 doesn't exist to me. I'm like, that's enough. Though I will admit, I think the story that is presented for Toy Story 5 kind of feels relevant in a way that I'm like intrigued, but I'm not going to do it. No. Not unless somebody says, hey, will you go see Toy Story 5 with me? And I'm like, fine. I have nothing else better to do. But regardless, Hoppers is a 4-star film for me. I loved it. I was thoroughly entertained by this. Like I said, there's so much joy in this film. There's so much creativity, all the wacky animal hijinks, and even the wacky people too. It's great. Hoppers from 2026, directed by Daniel Chong. Yeah, it's the best movie of the year so far. Believe me on that. All right, another movie that's out. It's Project Hail Mary from 2026, directed by Phil Lord and Christopher Miller. The tagline is Believe in the Hail Mary. Science teacher Rylan Grace wakes up in a spaceship light years from home with no recollection of who he is or how he got there. As his memory returns, he begins to uncover his mission: solve the riddle of the mysterious substance causing the sun to die out. He must call on his scientific knowledge and unorthodox ideas to save everything on Earth from extinction. But an unexpected friendship means he may not have to do it alone. Ryan Gosling wakes up. He is playing the character Rylan Grace, who is a teacher. He's a loner teacher. He's just good at his job. He likes helping kids, all that stuff. Seems like an okay guy. But he gets roped into this project to save the world because his biology science writings, have caught the attention of the government. Sandra Hüller plays Eva Strauch. She is heading the mission, and she's like, we need you, Grace. We need you to do this. And he's very reluctant about this. However, we start the film, this is not a spoiler, with him out in space. So he has partaken in this journey. There's a lot of back and forth too before the project, as Grace is sort of invited into the science scene to sort of get involved, and then there's the things going on the ship and how he's trying to figure out the exploration side of things and what he can do to help. I think this is an okay film. Like, Ryan Gosling is good. He's always good. Sandra Hüller is fine, but she feels a little typecast because she's playing this very straight-laced, all business German woman, as she does. And yeah, I get that paycheck, Sandra. Yeah. But I don't know. This just never really worked for me. It was like doing all these things that I kind of expected it to do. It's unfortunately very reminiscent to a striking degree of the film The Martian, which is also from a book written by the author Andy Weir, and also from a script written by Drew Goddard. So two factors there, making it very similar to The Martian, like very derivative, it's making me think of other things. It's a little distracting, and I wish this movie had more originality to it, or at least was better at being what it is, because I found a lot of it just not really convincing and not really very entertaining. It just kind of was going through the motions, and it felt too simplistic. There's a lot of humor in this too, and I think the humor was a little bit overdone. I didn't really have a problem with the length of the film, but I kind of wish the journey itself felt a bit more fulfilling to me, because I was just kind of left feeling like this was an okay film and never a great film. Maybe on the visual scale, it does have some nice things to look at, some good space stuff, stuff that looks better than your everyday movie, that's for sure. Kind of reminded me a little bit of Ad Astra at times, but I think Project Hail Mary is just okay. Yes, it is definitely a crowd pleaser, and it's definitely something that if you want to be on the ball of knowing what the hot movies are and who you want to talk to film, if you've got film friends, you want to talk to them about a movie, it's like they probably all have seen Project Hail Mary. But I just wasn't so into this one. It just kind of rubbed me the wrong way at times for odd things, and didn't really feel like it had the heft that I kind of needed for me to be on board. I'm not saying this is a bad movie. I'm just saying it just didn't really work for me. So Project Hail Mary from 2026, directed by Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, gave it 2.5 stars. One thing I will mention, though, is that I'm not like a Phil Lord and Chris Miller hater necessarily. I was very disappointed to hear that they got fired off of the Solo Star Wars movie, project some years back and replaced by Ron Howard, because I was game for that. I was game for like a fun, quirky sci-fi film, which you kind of get here, but yeah, I still like the Solo movie that came out made by Ron Howard. Yeah, fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know how you would look at it, but it is curious to know, what kinds of things were taken out or objectionable, at least in my opinion. I mean, people have probably moved on from that, yeah. But Project Hail Mary, it's just it's okay. Okay, up next we have How to Have Sex from 2023, directed by Molly Manning Walker. Before I talk about this movie, I just want to mention that this movie deals with sexual assault, so it may be triggering for you. So if you don't want to watch it, don't watch it. I'm going to try to not talk about that kind of stuff that's happening in the film. I'm going to just vaguely talk about it. But the movie does not have a tagline. The story goes like this. 3 British teenage girls go on a rites of passage holiday, drinking, clubbing, and hooking up in what should be the best summer of their lives. There are 3 girls in the film that the movie portrays, Tara, Sky, and Em. We mostly follow Tara. She's played by Mia McKenna-Bruce. A very good performance. Like, I believe she was this young gal. And, you know, the stuff that happens in this movie, there's a lot of peer pressure. There's a lot of, you know, just doing the things you do because your friends are doing them. And then there's guys that come in the picture. And there's some coercion and bad things that happen to Tara. It's very heartbreaking. It's sad. She's just a kid. You know, she wants to be an adult. She wants to party. She wants to do those more adult things. But unfortunately, she is harmed. It is so sad and troubling. And it's also very real. You know, this isn't a documentary, but it is shot in a way that gives a feeling of like a real experience that you might have if you went clubbing in Crete for a fun weekend with, you know, your friends, your pals. And it is really tragic that... people can't just go out and club and party and be safe because unfortunately there's just going to be someone that take advantage of them and assault them. And it is very sad. But I did really enjoy this movie. It has a very good structure in how it gives us this path to these people, like understanding how things happen and how, your friends can be shit sometimes and you're out for a holiday and, you know, it's not always a good time. I don't know what else to say about this one, but it did kind of make me think of the Larry Clark film Kids. It's not quite on that level, if you know what I'm talking about, of being very disturbing, but it does have disturbing elements because it has to. The way this is filmed, I like the scripting for this. I am interested to see what Molly Manning Walker does next. I'm also not recommending you watch the movie Kids. It is 30 years on from that film, but it still is I haven't seen it in so long, but I have to imagine it is still just as disturbing as it was then as it is now, you know, if you watch it now. And I think How to Have Sex, I think it really does a good job of giving the perspective of a young woman who just wants to have a good time, but, you know, just things go pretty bad. So How to Have Sex from 2023, as I said, directed by Molly Manning Walker. I gave this one 3.5 stars. Mia McKenna-Bruce also got a BAFTA Rising Star Award connected to her performance in this film. She's going to be in the Sam Mendes Beatles films. I believe she's playing the wife of Ringo Starr, who's played by, oh gosh, what's his name? Barry Keoghan. So we'll see her in that. I hope she's in some other films. Oh, I know she's in this like Brit Box series. I think it's called The Girl, something like that. I know it's her. It's like she has a very recognizable face. But Canopy has How to Have Sex if you want to check it out. It's also on Mubi. And like I said, this might be triggering. So if you are interested in watching this movie, you know, go in knowing that it might have some elements that might disturb some audiences. And yeah, I do recommend it. Like I said, 3.5 stars. Now up next, speaking of trigger warnings, it's the drama from 2026, directed by Christopher Borgli. The tagline is "Witness the Wedding of the Year." A happily engaged couple is put to the test when an unexpected turn sends their wedding off the rails. Zendaya plays Emma. She's engaged to Charlie, who's played by Robert Pattinson. The two of them together, I thought they were tremendous. I love their dynamic together. This movie is 1,000,000% a dark comedy. Don't go into this thinking it's some kind of romantic tale of two people torn apart or anything like that. No, it's not that. But it is really about, in some ways, it's about how we perceive people who we are getting to know. It's also about, you know, when it comes to relationships, the truths of your relationship. How do you deal with that? And then what matters most? So many things I want to say about this, but I don't want to spoil it. And I think doing a spoilery review is kind of unnecessary because the way this movie unfolds, it really happens at a very early part of the film. If you don't know what the premise is, I'm not going to say it, but I found this endlessly fascinating. Like, I found this to be so fun and so dark, and also exciting in the way it was unfolding. And I also think that's thanks to the performances in this film. Mahmoud Athi and Alana Haim also are playing a couple who know Charlie and Emma pretty well. So when this revelation comes out, they are also affected. There's a lot of moving pieces here. I was reminded of... I know nobody else probably thought this, but Todd Solondz. Not the movie Happiness, but vaguely in the terms of what that movie is grappling with people and what they want to believe and what is really the truth of the lives and everybody involved. Yeah, so interesting. And Zendaya's performance as Emma, I found really, really unique and I can't say it. I was just very touched by her character. Let's say that. The things she has gone through and, you know, what has brought her to this place. And then there's Pattinson on the other hand playing Charlie. Just, oh my God. It's a bit of a train wreck, everything happening between the two of them. But I found the ending of this movie to be so satisfying and heartbreaking and lovely. Like all the feels of this movie that it was giving throughout just all culminated into this ending. And as it was starting to happen, I started to cry because I was just kind of like, that is the perfect ending, as maybe expected as it is. I just love how it unfolded. So the drama from 2026, directed by Christopher Borgli, I give this one 3.5 stars. Maybe it's a 4-star on a second watch, because it's thankfully a movie that when you're watching it and when it's over, you're still thinking about it and you're kind of questioning things about how the movie portrays certain aspects of it and people and the dynamics between them, be it your coworker or your partner. And I think that's great. I think this movie does a fantastic job of being something that lingers because it asks so many good questions, or maybe doesn't ask certain questions because it wants you to think about it for yourself. Anyway, I look forward to watching this again. I absolutely would. I'm so thankful for this movie being in theaters, and it's a hit too. That's cool. When I saw it, it was funny. There was a lot of people there, and it was in a smaller theater. So, you know, relative to that smaller theater, it was almost sold out. Would there have been more people if there were if there were more seats? I don't know. But there was a group of 5 people who all left the theater together. And I gathered that it was a father with his older teenage daughters. I'm not like saying like preteens. I'm saying like maybe high school seniors, juniors. So like the family went out. And the dad leaving the theater was like, that movie. That I thought that was supposed to be funny. Oh, it was a good movie, but oh my gosh, I thought it was funny. And the daughter was like, you were laughing. So, yes, it's a dark comedy. I did laugh out loud at many times, but so many good things about the drama. So many. Now, up next, we have Skyscraper from 1996, directed by Raymond Martino. The tagline is 86 floors of action-packed terror. A helicopter charter turns deadly when the pilot finds that she is on a building held by terrorists. It is up to her and her husband to save the hostages. So this movie, Skyscraper, starring Anna Nicole Smith as Carrie Wink. Carrie is married to Gordon Wink, or Gordy. She wants a baby. Gordy, she wants a baby. Gordy's like, I'm a cop. It's too hard. We're too busy. You're too busy flying your helicopter, blah, blah, blah. She's a hell escort. Not an escort, but a hell escort for her helicopter service. And she flies around LA, picks people up where they need to go, gets them those places. It just so happens that Carrie picks up a guy who's not so good. And he's after a device that will control who knows what. Anyway, this movie, I have some friends, I've talked about this before. We have spun the wheel online where we all submit movies for a certain theme. And the theme this week was movies that have the same title as a more famous movie. I had known about these Anna Nicole movies for a while, and I had not seen any of them. Since Skyscraper is on Tubi, I thought this was the perfect opportunity to watch this movie. And I thought it'd be great to watch with some friends and like chat along about the movie as it's happening. and I was right. I found this very entertaining, as much as this is a pure ripoff of Die Hard, where Anna Nicole's Carrie is in this tower. There's computers, being in charge of like doors closing and being locked, and how she can access certain parts of the building. And there's hostages and people get shot. There's a trigger happy dude. There's a guy with long hair kind of running the show who's like blonde hair, long hair, I don't remember if he was German or not, but, very, very reminiscent of Die Hard at almost every single turn. And I think Anna Nicole does a good job. She's not like a trained performer in the arts of acting. You hire Anna Nicole because she's Anna Nicole, and I think she's fine. And I was mad at her damn husband because he's supposed to be this cop, and here she is just the helicopter pilot, but she saves the day. She even shoots a guy, she takes care of everything. I had fun with this. I gave it 2.5 stars. No, it is not a great movie. No, but I was very entertained by this. So yeah, that's my rating, and I'm sticking to it. Say what you want about Anna Nicole and her acting. I miss her. What a tragedy. But she's been in a number of films. I have only ever seen her in The Hudsucker Proxy, and that was so long ago I can't even picture it. But she's also in a movie called To the Limit, as well as Naked Gun 33.5, The Final Insult. I'll have to watch that. I have not seen a single Naked Gun movie. I've only seen like clips from that kind of stuff. But what can you do? Tubi, it is the gift that keeps on giving, where you can watch movies like Skyscraper. Now, up next is the documentary Are We Good from 2025, directed by Stephen Feinartz. The tagline is a Marc Maron documentary. This raw, intimate portrait of comedian and podcast pioneer Marc Maron follows the sudden loss of his partner, filmmaker Lynn Shelton. Maron struggles with grief, disillusionment, and a shifting comedy landscape, processing it all through his life, both on stage and off. Marc Maron, if you're not familiar, he's a comedian. He also had a podcast that recently ended called WTF What the Fuck. And it's a great podcast, like really terrific. That's how I came to know Marc Maron. I had seen him on TV a number of times too over the years, and I really like his comedy specials. I think a lot of them are very, very enjoyable. His recent ones too. I would love to see him on tour. He still tours, but it hasn't really worked out. Regardless, is this documentary any good? I'm going to say no. Unfortunately, I think it's a bit inert. We get a good sense for who Marc is, but I feel like the documentary doesn't do a great job of really justifying like people understanding Marc who are maybe outsiders who aren't familiar with his work. And that's not to say that this is badly made. This movie wants to really talk about Marc and his life after the passing of Lynn Shelton. And Lynn Shelton passed away in 2020, not from COVID, but during a time of such isolation that it was obviously very difficult for Marc to process the grief of losing his partner and where his life was and how things could, move forward from there. And this movie, I think, gives a good portrait of Lynn Shelton and how she impacted Marc's life. But beyond that, it just felt kind of, it's like it was missing some heft, missing some pieces to really talk a little bit more about Marc. And I say this as a fan of Marc Maron, so I feel like he deserved a better documentary. I think it probably needed more interviews from people in this. Oh my gosh, I was actually surprised there weren't a lot of, recognizable faces who are in this. I thought there would be more, but there's not. But, it's okay. I think if you're a Marc Maron fan, you might enjoy this documentary. But for me, like, I want to recommend this kind of documentary to, like, my parents or someone else who maybe is, like, looking for something that's, like, what's, like, an easy watch documentary? Because people love watching documentaries. But I think this is just okay. It's just not quite there. I watched this on Canopy. I do believe it's available as a digital rental as well. But I had to give it 2 stars. They do show footage of Marc's crazy cats, though. So in case you're interested in that, as opposed to hearing about his crazy cats just through his podcast, yeah, they're in this. And I like Marc Maron. It's not to say Marc Maron isn't, like, a good comedian or anything like that. I just think the documentary comes a little bit short. As I said, 2.5 stars for Are We Good from 2025, directed by Stephen Feinartz. You're better off just watching like any of Marc Maron's comedy specials. There are so many. And if you want to watch him act in a film, he was recently in the film The Order, which is a thriller. I would recommend that film. Check it out. He also made a movie with Lynn Shelton called The Sword of Trust. I'm gonna have to watch that soon. Lynn's movies are very easygoing, kind of not totally stripped down, but semi stripped down indie films. Like, they feel indie, they are indie. So you can also check out her work. Now, to close out the episode, we're gonna talk about, not watch, The Man with the Golden Gun from 1974, directed by Guy Hamilton. The world's greatest villains tried to kill James Bond. Now it's Scaramanga's turn to try. Cool government operative James Bond searches for a stolen invention that can turn the sun's heat into a destructive weapon. He soon crosses paths with the menacing Francisco Scaramanga, a hitman so skilled he has a 7-figure working fee. Ooh. Bond then joins forces with the swimsuit-clad Mary Goodnight, and together they trek Scaramanga to a Thai tropical isle hideout where the killer for hire lures the slick spy into a deadly maze for a final duel. Yeah, so I finally watched another Bond film with my sister because we've been doing our Bond thing. If you want to go to the if you want to go to the letterbox, which you can access through the podcast website, cinema5000.com, there's a link on the bottom. I have a list called James Bonding because I am watching James Bond and bonding with my sister over the movies. But is this any good? No, unfortunately. It's my second to last favorite. Goldfinger is the worst of what I've seen so far, though on a Bond scale of like 2.5. That's not to say the movies are bad. I just was not really taken with this one. Roger Moore is just okay. I do think Christopher Lee is way underutilized, especially his third nipple, the identifier. Not a spoiler. For some reason, Scaramanga has a third nipple, and that's the only way they can identify him. So at one point, Roger Moore goes somewhere and he's got the third nipple because he wants to be Scaramanga, like impersonate him. It's so ridiculous. We need more nipple content. So if you're gonna remake Man with a Golden Gun, anybody, I know they're doing that James Bond thing for Amazon. We need more nipple content. I'm just goofing around. Britt Eklund plays Mary Goodnight. I liked her in this movie, but I think Maude Adams is a bit underused for Andrea Anders, but what can you do? Not every Bond girl has a big part all the time. It happens. I think the biggest shame for this movie is that it brings back Sheriff J.W. Pepper. For some damn reason, he was in Live and Let Die, the last James Bond film that I just watched, which is a better movie, but oh man, they had to bring this guy back. Why? It was terrible. It was awful. I think the best thing about this movie, besides I think being Britt Eklund, who I think is good in this, it looks fantastic. This is such a beautiful movie. I think the cinematography was great, and even when it wasn't necessarily like bright and vibrant, it was good to look at. I just was not taken with this one. I found the conflict kind of boring, and the device about turning the sun into a weapon, blah blah blah. It's typical James Bond stuff. I think there are more good movies in the Bond films that I've seen so far than bad, but I just think this one just doesn't quite hit. So The Man with the Golden Gun from 1974, directed by Guy Hamilton, 2.5 stars for me. Yeah, unfortunately. I wanted to like this one, but it happens. It's okay. Maybe the next one will be good. The next one is it The Spy Who Loved Me? I have seen that one before, but I'll rewatch it with my sister. No big deal. Especially since I'm going to have to rewatch a bunch of the, no, not a bunch. Not nearly. All of the Pierce Brosnan and Daniel Craig ones, when I watch them, they will all be rewatches because I have seen all of those. And I want to say I've seen one of the Timothy Dalton ones. Yeah. So when I watch The Spy Who Loved Me, it won't be on the main podcast, but it will be in the letterbox. So like I said, letterboxed. The link is on the website, cinema5000.com, if you want to check out what I'm watching and spoil yourself, and also check out my lists. Yeah, that is the episode. Terrific. A heads up, I'm going to a film festival this weekend in Boston, so I'll have some new movies to talk to you about. That is movies that aren't even out in theaters yet, not for a couple months at least, and maybe some shorts. Depends how things go. I'm excited to talk about what I'll be seeing because I got some good tickets for some movies I'm very interested in seeing. So that's cool. Otherwise, I'm really hoping I can go see the Christophers tomorrow night. I think I can make it work. I've been watching Survivor, and it's like Survivor night is my favorite night of the week. So I just hope like I have an okay day for work in the daytime, and then it's like, yeah, I'm ready to go. Let's go to the movies. Let's go see the Christophers, the new film by Steven Soderbergh. Other than that, what's coming to theaters? I think I'm going to see Mother Mary, maybe. I think I have to see it despite the fact I'm not a fan of David Lowery. Oh, and I need to mention the drama. I want to see it again. I forgot to mention I loved the soundtrack for that movie. Really great songs. A lot of them I had not really heard before. And the use of music in it I just found just really solid. You know when you see a movie and the use of a song can just elevate it just a little bit more even when it's good? Yeah, that happens in that film. Yeah. Good movie. All right, this is the end of the episode. Go to cinema5000.com. That's the website. That's where the links are. You can also stream podcast episodes on there. There's a player on the front page. There are links in the bottom to the letterbox or any other services you want to subscribe to. The blog. I will be updating the blog after I go to the film festival to talk about my experience, maybe share some pictures. So I will be doing that, I promise. And also on the blog, I post the YouTube uploads of episodes on there. So in case you want to use YouTube, subscribe and listen, but not really watch. Yeah, you can do that too. Cinema 5000 podcast on YouTube is the name. Cinema 5000 on Bluesky. And if you want to send an email, send it to cinema5kpod@gmail.com. Again, my name is Mallory. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Yeah, we'll talk again very soon. Okay, bye.